So yeah, so today I just wanted to have like a quick conversation on how was basically your experience recording this music. We have done music for, I would say, the past almost 6, 7, 8 years.
Really? Has it been
Yeah,
that long? Wow.
I mean, I think we started recording back in 2015, maybe.
What were
Yeah,
you? You were like 12 years old, right?
yeah. It was like 11 and about to turn 12.
You dig?
And you were 15. You were 15.
No, I was 16.
16. Ah, sorry, 16. And and yeah, I mean, um, I remember the first time I came to Boston and I heard you play. I think it was in the Fringe. I went there and my mind was like, how is this guy doing what he's doing? And basically, how can how can I borrow that feeling that I felt that you had while you were playing, you know? So that for me, that was unbelievable. And I wanted to start off with this question about being in the moment and how you approach that. If this is something that you have consciously worked to be in that space when you are playing, or is something that came natural to you? How did you develop that?
I don't think I really developed it. It's like, you know me, like, I like to live in an unconscious state. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm here talking to you, and now I'm going to pick up the saxophone and I'm going to play the saxophone. Like, growing up with Lovano and, Liedman and Brecker and knowing Bergonzi and seeing how they play, I realized it justified what I believed in, that you're always playing even when you don't have the horn in your mouth. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Does that make sense? So it's not like, oh, I go from one stage to the next stage, because it's, it's a different time when we all grew up. It wasn't premeditated, so it's like I'm always thinking about the music, and when I pick the horn up, it's just an extension of what's already happening. And then, not to go like historic about the Fringe and stuff like that. When I met Galati and Rich Appleman, I had no idea about that music. I
Mhm.
never knew avant-garde or free existed. We just started playing, and we would at Berkeley, and we were doing like Recordame and Blue Bossa, da, 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 and then all of a sudden the music took a left and we never returned.
Mhm.
So I mean, again, it's as simple as that. Not being premeditated about what you're doing, and that's the vibe I get being with you. Like, what you do, it's so open that, and this doesn't happen with everybody. That's why I'm really not particular about who I play with, but I gravitate towards people who think the same way. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? And it's easier to deal with that. You know, um, it's just something that happens. It's like trusting the music. You know.
Yeah, and for me, it was also the other way around. Like, it's how can I do as little as possible to not destroy that magic that he comes with, like, because I know that if I put a lot of stuff in the middle, it's gonna create more problems than make the music shine. And I think there are several moments in the music that we recorded that for me were like, I felt like the floor was kind of gravitating, and usually where the music was not written and you were reacting to whatever was happening in that particular take. Not even in the song, but there are certain takes that we did. Like, I remember there's one ending, I think it was back in the other album
I
in
remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
and and you went wild, and it was what, but you can't really rehearse that. It's something that happened there, and and then the other thing was different, and it was equally or more amazing. But that's something that fascinates me when every time I listen to you playing on or recording. And is there any difference for you to between playing live and recording, or it's just like the live vibe of doing music, and as you said, it's a continuation of
Well, like you just said a few minutes ago, if like I like I like doing what I'm doing at this age. I'm going to be 72 next month. I finally given up to saying, look, I want to play the way I want to play and what I want to play. I want to do it the way I want to do it. Like if someone comes, not you, but I'm saying if someone comes with a shitload of music, 7/4, 8/11, 14/13, it's like I'm probably not going to do it because it's going to be too mental. So people, you guys know, here's what I do, and you can get the most out of me by writing the way you write. So on the flip side, I really live by this thing that cuckoo people meet cuckoo people. So, you know what I mean? They gravitate towards each other. This thing with the Uruguayan, Liana from Argentina, Nando, Michelin, the whole story. It's like these people find me, and this goes way back to when I started teaching at Berkeley. These guys would suss me out and like, oh, Maestro, how you doing? I'm from Peru, which I'm going in a few weeks with Jorge Alvarez.
yeah.
These guys find me and like, oh, I want to be in your avant-garde sound. Okay, cool. And so they find you because they know there's only certain people do this thing. So it's you can write that down. The next song you should make it be entitled "Cuckoo People Find Cuckoo People." It's almost like "Cuckoo Tico Cuckoo Zico Tite Gung 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 Zingo." You dig? And make sure I'm on that record when you do
Yeah.
that.
And I think that that's the interesting thing, is that we are only allowed this amount of cuckoo-ness, right? Because
No.
or not.
Attenzione. You
No.
can go as far out as you want.
Okay.
And if between you and I want you to go nuts. I want you to go as far out as you can go so I can go on top of that. Because that's what pushes me, you know. Like all the things we did, even from the beginning, there was something about that sound, the way you write and arrange. Yeah, it's just what it is. You can't go
Yeah.
blah 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 about it because it kind of spoils it. But you
Yeah.
know what I mean. So it's something that that's what music is about. To me, I mean, people probably kill me for saying this, but music is not meant to be put on paper.
Yeah.
You know, the moment you put it on paper, that's when it disappears. That's why with the triadic approach, I try not to give people written things because they go like, and they want to recreate what's on the sheet. But I try to teach them to improv by ear, so.
But that takes a lot of courage, because one of the lessons, one of the many lessons I had from working with you in the studio is that you I remember one day that I think you arrived that very same day
From
from Europe
Australia.
or
Australia.
from Australia, like a long trip. It was like a 24-hour, or I don't know how long that trip was. And you almost came straight from Logan Airport to the studio.
I remember that. Wow.
and and you did like, and you didn't knew the music. Well, I mean, I think I sent you something, but you were like, okay, I'm here, what can I do, like that type of thing. And I think that was one of the wildest moments I've personally experienced in music. And you start the solo and stuff, and then in the middle of the solo you do like a long note that takes like, I don't know, like 24 bars or something like this. I don't know if someone was helping you with the air or whatever. And everyone, like the first couple of seconds, everyone was like grooving, and then everyone starts turning at you and looking, what is this guy doing? And the music grow. And
Nacho. It's called a long tone.
yeah, yeah, but it takes a lot. I mean, it takes courage to do that, and experience, and you can't really do that everywhere. It's just like that was what was needed in that particular
It,
take, I
it,
think.
it, it's um, it's pertinent to what's happening. You know, the reason I did the long note was because of what you were writing. It wasn't like, oh, let's play a long note. It
Yeah,
was like I'm listening to what's going on underneath me. And sometimes, you know, when you listen to people play, they play all this stuff, and then, you know, and that's cool. But I'm learning because I listen to Miles constantly. Like one note is really strong, especially the flat 9 on 1 at the end of a tune. Gabish, you dig? And I was like, damn, this motherfucker's sitting on that flat 9 and he's making it say, okay, folks, that's 1. You dig? And I was like, that, you know, if you don't mind me saying it, you can put it, that takes balls,
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
know, because if you don't play that right, you can make that can sound wrong. But he's like, da ba da boo ya boo ah. I'm like, whoa, you know, and I started to get into that. And you know where I used to do that? And I figured it out. I mean, you don't need to put this on. I figured it out when I used to play weddings,
Okay.
right? Like playing Misty. And drop it. You know, just because, you know, otherwise I would have lost my mind, you know. So I figured out seriously how to deal with playing that kind of music and then being able to, you know, have it sound artsy fartsy. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So,
Another thing that I love from your playing is your sense of rhythm and how you interact with drums and percussion also. Like in my music, we have a lot of percussion, sometimes it's bata, sometimes it's candombe drums. We have done tunes, candombes in 3/4 on or 5/4, which is usually not the way you should play candombes in 4/4. But your interaction, and I remember seeing you in the fringe, that you interacting with Gulotti or also interacting with Omar when we recorded Jack Mel, Omar Hakim. What is it what you receive from drummers in particular, and what is what you love? Because I have the feeling that you love drums.
well, I wanted to be a drummer, but the family decided he will play the saxophone. You know,
Okay.
I started out actually as a trumpet player. I blew 3 notes, and I'm like, no, right. And then the drums came along because my cousin Bobby played drums, and I was you know playing. Then one day this kid came to school to meet me to go to school. And he had a clarinet, and that was it. It just gravitated to that. But the thing I've learned, because I'm not from Panama, I'm not from Uruguay, I'm not from Argentina, I'm not from Cuba, I'm from Boston. Hello. The one thing I learned was to stay out of the way.
Great.
Gabish, you understand? So, you know, you guys, when Mela plays with us a lot now,
Yeah.
and you know, when these guys are playing, like I know that I don't, you know, I don't have that sense of origin of how to go in there. Like, ain't gonna go, she ain't going, so it's never gonna happen. So I learned how to stay out of the way and float over the top. So it gives them more freedom to do what they want, and me a sense of, you know, maybe he doesn't know where he is because it's everywhere. It's ominous. You know, does that make sense? I mean,
Yeah,
that's.
absolutely, absolutely.
But
And
let me
yeah,
just say, not to interrupt, when you have a band like you did with Omar, it's like forget about it. You know, it's like the guy's so good. You know, all those cats. It's always a piece of cake for me to go in there and some with a situation like that and play the way I play because these guys are strong and they'll just do their thing. I mean, if I start getting too brainy or they start getting too brainy, it's like finito. You
yeah,
know, that
yeah.
makes sense.
But the hard thing is that while you are recording, there's a lot of pressure, and how can you keep that kid inside of you enjoying what you are doing without messing the things, right? It's that's hard.
The only one that pressurizes you is you.
Yeah.
You dig? I don't go in. I never pressurize myself only in times of provocation, when there's going to be a situation, you know, but you never, the moment you pressure yourself, it comes out of your playing and people feel that. And you get a guy like Omar, they feel that stuff, and then they're not going to deal with it. So I just, I don't know, I just go in and I go, everybody, hey, how you doing? Let's go. Bam. But it's something that, as a musician, you need to learn, and it's you cannot perform under pressure. I mean, I like pressure because I perform the best when I'm under pressure.
Mhm.
Like the time, I don't know if you ever saw on YouTube, the Coltrane tribute live in
Yeah.
Japan
Yeah.
with
Yeah. Yeah.
Brecker,
Breaker, Liebman.
Jack.
Yeah.
To me, that was the most pressurized situation I've ever been in. And I was only about like 48, 49. And on the plane ride over to Japan, I said to myself, all right, dude, this is the break point. If you survive this shit, you can do anything, right? So I got up there and I went for it because, it was Christian McBride, Brian Blade, Jack, you know, after I'm just telling you, I want to get back to your thing, but after all those solos, Lieb and Brecker, it was my turn. I just went ape shit because Sheets of Sound, there was nothing else to do. And when we finished, we were at the sushi party and everybody was getting umbriago, right? And I said, Jack, I'm sorry, man. Like, there was nothing else to do except go nuts and do Sheets of Sound. And he says to me, oh, man, I was waiting for that. Thank you. so, so anyway, I'm just saying that the only time you pressurize yourself is when you pressurize yourself, and um, I can do it. I'm good under pressure, but it's not necessary. And if you go in relaxed, then you make everyone else relax.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope
Absolutely.
that makes sense.
Yeah. 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 No, George, for me, it was, I mean, I still can't believe it that the first time I approach you with the generosity that you have had with me has been like, it gave me confidence, gave me uh, more stimulus to write, gave me like open a million musical doors for me, and the things also we did with John Patitucci, with Omar, all that stuff that you helped open those doors, because when you have someone like you in the band, immediately everyone is wants to play. It's like, and that was like a huge blessing for me to write music for you, and see what you are gonna do with that. That's
Well,
the best feeling you can have as a composer, to write music for someone.
Nash,
Yeah.
Nacho, I'm telling you, these guys are only gonna come to you because of what they hear. So it's, oh, sorry, my fault. So let me get back here. Hold on one second. So how you doing? So it's you. It's not me. It's you. These people are gonna gravitate because of the music they hear. But Patitucci's not going to play unless he knows that music is killing. Even
Mhm.
if I say, John, this shit's happening, he listens to it. If he doesn't dig it, he's not going to go. So, people want to do this because the music is strong. You
Yeah.
know, it's really
and
simple. You know.
and it's tough, because when we are building something, and you are not sure about what you are doing, because basically I was trying to connect the word from Uruguay with the word from fusion, with the word from improvisation, with the word from jazz composition, all that stuff, and that could be a mess and could be a disaster. And but today, with a few years after, I see that, and I'm so happy that we did that, and all these recordings and all the things that we will continue doing. So, George, I just wanted to thank you deeply, because I mean, you are one of my favorite musicians ever, and every time I get to hear you, or we get to record music together, it's just a huge party, and that's beautiful.
Well, I have this vision of us at the Hollywood Bowl. You dig? At the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah,
And nuts. I mean, it's not. I'm not like rah rah rah. I'm just saying that the music is strong, and that kind of writing is going to bring those type of people together. It's really you. It's not me. It's you. It's like what you're doing that makes it easy for me to come in. You're not like, okay, dude, we're gonna play in 1411, and I need the shashka kashka boshke bosh. I'm like, forget about it.
yeah,
Get someone else. It's like you're free enough to trust, and that's the word you got to use. You got to trust it. Everything you do, everything I do, that when we come together, it'll happen. Otherwise, if you don't do it that way, it'll sound prefab.
yeah,
You know.
absolutely. Absolutely. George, what are you doing today before we wrap up? What are you in terms of music? Are you still at Berkeley teaching? Tell me a little bit more about where you are today, right now.
In my life, you mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Well, Liana and I got married 2020 during the COVID. And we just got back from our honeymoon in Italia for two
yeah,
and a half weeks, and now I'm here, and we're getting close to the end of the summer, and it's the 50-year anniversary of the Fringe, so I'm trying to figure out if we can play at the Lincoln Center. I want to do something big, and really uh, show what this band was about, a tribute to Bob Galati.
yeah,
And now that gigs are coming back, they're coming like a ocean wave. So everyone's calling, and it's great. And the people know how I play, and the thing that I appreciate the most is they want that. They don't want anything other than that. So it's what I do. So I feel fortunate. As far as Berkeley, I'm beginning my 48th year in September,
it's
and
unbelievable.
I told these guys, I told Walter, I said, look, Walt, I want you to take me out of there in a body bag, because I'm not leaving. I want to stay because it's so great. He takes care of me. I'm teaching the triadic approach. I mean, what else can you ask for other than to teach what you play? And the kids, all the students are like, show me this shit. Come on, let's go. So it's great because I know if I retire, which I'm not going to do, I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah,
I'll just hang, which is cool too. But I just like being around, meeting guys like you and all the people from different countries, and it's what keeps you alive. Because playing music, just hearing what Bergonzi's doing, people my age, and then the younger kids what they're doing, showing them what they need to do, to push them, and I just like that thrive,
mhm,
because it fuels you. So I'm happy about what's happening. I'm glad that people are taking care of themselves and doing what they need to do because I went to Europe for the first time when we went to Italia, and that was the first time I had been there in 4 years
yeah,
anyway. And even in Italia, they're even more strict there than they are here, man. Because if you don't have the mask on the train, they'll arrest you and give
yeah.
you a fine. So I was like, that gave me more confidence about going to Europe. So no, I'm happy, and like I said, I hope you get nominated for a Grammy and you win the Grammy and you make me famous finally, and then we can play the Hollywood Bowl. You dig?
Well, George, I love you. Thank you so much,
You, my
and see
man.
you around.
Yeah, and come
Are you
come
playing
down to the
tomorrow in the
yeah
Fringe?
yeah come to the Fringe. Come down and hang. We'll have a couple of somethings.
Okay.
Okay. All right, man. I'll see you later.
See you around. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
Ciao, buddy. Bye.